Hello, I'm Yoshino, and just as promised, today we're gonna work on the second part of this eye rigging tutorial for Live2d for making vtuber models. So, we're starting from where we stopped the last time. What we did was the eye blinking, and the eye smile, and the iris movement. So, today we're gonna work on the physics. The physics are something that is more like a refinement of the movements that are gonna be triggered by the eye closing movement. But let's see this by steps. So at first we need to create our parameters. We're gonna work on the right eye first, and then we're just gonna copy paste it onto the other side. So for now, just don't look at the left eye, just work on the right eye or the one of your preference. So let's see, we already have IR open and IR smile all ready to work, and we need to make these other ones. This one is 𝐋𝐈𝐍𝐿, and as you can see, it's a special element of this model that this other model actually doesn't have. So let's actually remove this one to make it easier for you to understand. So these are all of our parameters for one eye. We already worked on the first two. So let's start to see what Lhiths Wiggle is. So what it does, it gives a little wiggle like this, and we're gonna make it so that when the eye closes and opens again, it does that little. So first of all, we need to make the parameter for it. After that, we're gonna open the physics panel, and we're gonna make a little, as you can see here, Lhiths Wiggle, and this is gonna create a link between our Lhiths Wiggle R, that is our output, that is the thing that is gonna show, and it's gonna be triggered by the input, which is our IR open, which is the blinking. So first, let's think about the parameter. As you can see, it's very simple. We're gonna use the same method of the other video here that we used to make this little movement when the iris moves. By the way, if you have not seen the first part of the video, you definitely need that. So I will leave the link in the description. Go watch that, because that is the basic. You could skip this video that you're watching right now, but not the first one, because the first one is the basic. So let's hide the hair so we can see better what we're working on. So we want to make another deformer that contains this deformer. This is because, as you can see here, the elements that are moving are the same ones that are contained in this deformer. So let's make another deformer. Let's call it Lhiths Wiggle R. Lhiths Wiggle R. Now we want to make this. Range from -1 to 1. I prefer to make smaller ranges for these eye parameters, because it's a very small element. Instead, for bigger elements such as the hair, we have bigger range. As you can see here, -15 plus 15. So let's start by creating our parameter. Let's click new parameter. Let's call it Lhiths Wiggle R. And remember to change here -1 to 1. Okay. Remember that your deformer should look something like this. just as the one that we made the other time. So you can use this one to change the number of divisions if it's not right. You should have something like this where you have 4 points that are all around the eye, like this in a square. So let's click on the 3 points, 3 dots here to create our keyframes. And what we're gonna do is just make a little bit of a curving, as if the eye was drooping down a little bit, as if it was melting down a little bit. Don't make it too much, just a little bit is enough. And we do the same thing for the right. Now we have to link this movement to the blinking. How do we do that? We go to the modeling, open physics, blending scene. As you can see, we already have our blinking, but it's very static. So we can click here, add. Let's call it Lashes Wiggle R. Always use the same name so you can keep everything very tidy. So I have a preset that I made for this. I usually clicked on the preset and then I start tweaking it because every model is different. So you cannot use the same method for every model. In fact, you will also need to see how your model reacts and change it depending on your own model. So eyelashes. Okay, now here, right click or click here is the same thing, add. Let's find our IR open, and this is gonna be our input. Bring the effect to 100. And as you can see here, we have this little pendulum. If this is not showing, you need to add 2 pendulums knots. As you can see, I already have 2. If you don't have to, click here 2 times. If you made more than 1, you can hold shift and click on these 2, delete. So I start with these numbers. We're gonna change them depending on how it looks. Now go to output settings, right click, left click on add, and find your Lashes Wiggle R. Okay. Now, as you can see, it's starting to show a little bit, just a little bit. It's not enough for me, so I want to increase it. I can increase it here. As you can see, it's showing more. But it looks like it's going down and coming up very slow. So what I can do here is to reduce the duration, so it will become faster. Look, it's already faster. I want it to bounce a little bit more. So to make things bouncy, you have to increase the shaking influence. If you see, when I put it to 1, which is the maximum, it's very, very bouncy. And this is too much. We can decrease it a little bit. I think it's almost good. I think we can increase this a little bit more. You need to play with this. I cannot tell you something that is good for every model. We can increase this just a little bit more. I think this is good for me. So know that in this panel the physics will look a little bit more exaggerated. When you go inside of VTube Studio or your tracking program, the movements are gonna be less intense. So here you can go a little bit more intense than you want it to look. And this is done. We're gonna basically do the same thing for all the other parameters. Create a parameter, go into the physics panel, link it to the eye blinking, and that's all. So let's do the same thing. What do you have next? We have the light movement. Okay. So here we have it. I'm gonna work on this. eye, light R. So for this one, I want to work with the mesh and not with a deformer. Make sure that no other when you click here, it shows you all the parameters that have active keyframes with the element that you selected. So as you can see here, I have no parameters active with this element, so I can use it. Instead, for example, if I click here, it's showing me these two parameters that have active with this deformer. If I click here, no parameter active, so I can use it. Because if I had another parameter, it would have a conflict with it. So you need to be in control of it. So ideally, you want only one, maximum two parameters active for every element. So let's click here, new parameter, iris, no, I'm sorry, lights are. Again, -1 to 1. Okay, let's make it active here. So the lights, we want it to move in a crazy way. So move one dot at the same one dot at the time. We want it to look crazy, we want it to look wiggly, so deform it, make it look weird. So as you can see here, the movement that we want is some kind of arch. Don't worry if, for example, now I messed up. I was making it the wrong way. So how do we fix it? Just click on the parameter, right click on here, reflect. You see it moved on the other side. So we want to make a little arch that follows the side of the iris. So let's move this one as well. Something like this. And to the other side, we can also make them overlap a little bit when they go to this other side, because why not? Let's see how it looks. Okay, now we can add some in-betweens to make it look even more wiggly. So let's click on this button here that is gonna open this chart that shows you every active keyframe. We can use this to put more specific keyframes. So let's put one in here. Just left click on it and then click OK. Now right click on here. As you can see, this is an in-between. So now it's very fluid. We want it to look weird, crazy. So let's make it a little bit crazier. Maybe squish it. You see how it's looking weird? Do the same thing for here. It's looking like a little butterfly. Okay. Now, same thing. We have our parameter, like here, all set up. Let's go modeling, open physics, add, lights are, input, no input for now. Eye shine, I don't know what's happening here. As you can see, the eye shine keeps on duplicating itself without me deciding on anything. I don't know what is happening. So right click, add, IR open, just the same, bring it to 100. Output setting, add, light R, and let's see how it looks. It's looking already kind of good. I want it to move a little bit more, so 1.5. Maybe just a little bit more. I want them to bounce a little bit more. Let's reduce this one. If you see that it starts to bug, it means that you made your scale too big. You need to decrease it. Let's make this a little bit faster. Bounce a little bit less. A little bit more. You need to tweak it. Look at it and tweak it. Play with it. You will eventually understand. Okay, I think this is good. Let's see what we have next. Iris scale. So for this we need to create a new deformer. Let's go here. Click on the iris squish that we already have and create another one. Let's call it iris scale R. Let's make another deformer. So for this one I'm gonna leave -30 to 30 because I want a very slow movement. You can see it from here. If we look at the deformer, look how it goes. There is a rotation. Look at this middle cross, it's rotating. It's very easy, don't worry. So how can we do this? First of all, I want to increase my conversion divisions so that I have a nice little square, more or less, all around my iris, just like this. I can also make it a little bit bigger so that it's just around the iris better, like this. You can change your deformer without changing the elements inside of it by holding Control. Now click here, we go to here. How can we create that deformer thingy? So first of all, hold Shift and bring this in. So left is gonna be a shrink. It's gonna squish it, crunch it, and then the right one is gonna expand. Like this. And now we need to rotate. So bring this up, bring this down, bring this to the right, this one to the left. Now we're doing a clockwise rotation. So follow the clockwise. So this has to go down, this has to go left, up, right. Now hold Shift, select your iris, hold Alt and Shift together, shrink it. Don't worry if it deforms a little bit, it's okay. I think I want to bring it also a little bit more down. Now, same thing, but reverted. So let's make it bigger. Always holding Shift. Now we're going counterclockwise. So like this. Counterclockwise. Grab your iris, make it bigger. Shift and Alt, always. Ah, maybe it's too much. Okay. It's gonna look crazy. It's gonna look crazy, but we're gonna work on it. Modeling, open physics. And let's see. Add iris scale R. Again, add your IR open. 100. Add iris scale R. And let's see how it looks. So it's barely moving. This is because the other ones were -1 to 1. So our scale 1 was good. But we have 30 now. So we need to increase this. Let's make it 20. The bigger is your parameter range, the bigger you want your scale. Maybe a little bit even bigger, maybe less slow. A little bit more bouncy, a little bit more accelerated. You see, it's doing a weird thing. After it goes big, it stops a little bit too suddenly. So let's decrease this because it was starting to bug. little bit more wiggling. And I am quite satisfied with this. We're almost there. So we have our mini lashes wiggle like this. So now we just have to select the lashes. Select your lashes. Also top lash, side lash and low lash. And make a deformer with them. Lashes are. Let's call it, just to be clear, mini lashes are. Create new parameter, mini lashes are. Again, -1 to 1. Okay. Now this one is very easy. We just want the lashes to go to the left. If you see that it's cutting weirdly, then you can increase the divisions here so that the movement becomes smoother. This one goes up, so this one goes down. You can also click here. If you see that here I'm not having enough control, I can click here to remove the Bezier division, and I can just work with the single dots here. Like this. Maybe a little bit more exaggerate. It's better to have them exaggerate in the parameter and then tweak it and see how much of this parameter you want to show, instead of having less. And when you go to the physics, if you have less, you cannot increase it, so it's better to have more here. And if you go to your physics panel and you see there is so much, you can always decrease it. So let's do the same thing for the other side. I'm gonna go back to this because here I saw the moment was better with that. Let's go back to this one. Rigging is a matter of spending time on it. Look how it, check how it looks, tweak it again, check it again, and do it again and again. You have to be patient, and after time your patience will be repaid. There's no rush. It can easily take months to make a very good model, and there's no trick, no fast tutorial, no you cannot skip it. Okay, let's go to the physics panel again. Add mini lashes are. I'm gonna use the same as the eyelashes. Add IR open 100. Output mini lashes. Okay. Let's check. It's already somewhat good. I want to increase it a little bit because they're not moving as much as I wanted them to. Maybe decrease this a little bit more bouncy. Hmm. I like this. I like this. Okay. So we're basically done. One other thing that I want to show you is that, for example, when I have a special expressions, for example, angry, I want the eyes to be angry. Maybe we're gonna don't do what I'm doing right now. I just need to show you. Maybe we have our angry face, very angry. Also, our mouth might be angry. We want the eye to look a little bit squished, because when you're angry, your eyes look squished a little bit. How do we do that? Click here, make another, let's call it expression. Lashes are. So don't mess with the mesh. Don't mess with the mesh. Sorry. You don't want to work on this one because what did I tell you? If we have our angry expression, our angry special expression, what did I tell you? No more than 2 parameters for each element. You cannot add your thingy here and change it. It's gonna have a conflict. So you need to create a deformer to avoid touching the mesh. So you make your deformer, you have your special expression, and you can just make it look angry from here. You see how much it adds to the expression? And that's my little tip. So also, if you did a change like this, but oh, no parameter is active, what am I gonna do now? Just go here, modeling, art mesh. No, I'm sorry. Modeling, edit shape, revert to original, and it's back to original. So now all we have to do is just to copy paste our eye to the other side. So how can we do that? Open every deformer, every element that we created from the eye, everything. Click, left click here, hold shift and click on the last element. Select every element of your eye. You need to open the items. If it's like this, it's not good. Open everything and select. Ctrl C, Ctrl V, copy paste it. It's gonna take a little bit. Don't click anything else, just wait for it to work. Right click on it, reflect. Here only check eyeball X, nothing else. Remember, horizontally, not vertically. Okay, like this. Now I had a IL, let's remove it. Let's click on the eye reflection and highlight, because as you can see now they're flipped. I want these elements to be reflected. Reflect horizontally. They changed their position a little bit, so we need to fix it. Let's move it. You need to move every element, because you see now I have these keyframes active. They are all moved too much to the left. I need to move to the right position. Let's check with the other eye as well. To the right position, all of these keyframes. You see? All of them need to be moved. It's not very much important if you don't do it precisely, because this is a very fast, very wiggly movement. So just move it more or less in the right position. More or less. Now what happens is that we have both our eyes linked. They are working with the same parameters, and this is not what we want. So we need to create new parameters that are empty, so that we can take the movements of this eye and detach it from the right eye and put it inside of our left parameters. So we already have IL open and IL smile, so we need to replicate parameter, edit parameter, rename it L. move it on the top. Do the same for this one and do the same for all of them. Now it's very easy. How do we detach it? So this is our copy pasted eye, right? Select everything from it. Left click on this one, right click on this one, change, and select IL open. Remember to edit parameter, change the default to 0.8. As you can see now, the two movements are detached. When I open and close this one, the left one doesn't move anymore. You just have to do the same thing for all of the other parameters, of course, except for eyeball X and Y, because they need to move together with that one. So now, as you can see, the left eye is not moving anymore, but we need to create the same wiggling elements in the physics panel for the left eye. How do we do this? It's very simple. Just duplicate, put L instead of R, change from here to IL, lashes wiggle L, and there you go. It's moved. So let's do the same thing for all of the other elements as well. And it's done. We have both our eyes nice and wiggly with all our physics. Let's see how it looks when she moves them. Nice! So thanks for watching. I think my next tutorial will be on the eyebrows. Let me know in the comments if this video was helpful for you, if you want some other kind of tutorial. Share it with your friends if you enjoyed it. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Bye bye bye! Thank you for watching.